All right. Well, time of year again, everybody. It's part two of off panel, off topic, Spooktacular. So yeah, this is one of two episodes this week. So you'll get this one right now on Halloween, and then the next day you'll get our regular episode. So there you go. I hope you're happy, everybody. With me, just like in the first off panel, off topic, Spooktacular, Grace Cole. Grace, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Great. So we talked about it in the last Spooktacular.
Mm-hmm.
You have a tattoo of Michael Myers on you.
I sure do.
So with that information, I was like, well, we have to go to the expert here, and we gotta come up with the Halloween rankings. Now, I'm gonna have my personal ranking. You're gonna have yours. It should be good. Should be interesting.
I think it'll be a very lively debate. I think it'll be fun. It'll be good.
Yeah, because I think I'm gonna have very different opinions than you. I don't know if it'll be that different.
I think some of them will line up, but I think some of them might be polar opposite. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we're recording this 6 days before Halloween. So you just watched Halloween Ends for the first time the night before recording this.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And based on that text, I think you and I are going to have it probably around the same area on our lists. But
yeah. Well, because I remember last year when we were talking about it, I think you guys had watched it already at that point because it had just come out when we recorded. And I wasn't watching horror movies because I was pregnant. And so I like just forgot about it. I just forgot about this movie. And then I was like, oh God, I should probably watch it. But I remember you guys saying that it was it's a little disappointing. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see exactly what you guys thought of it.
Especially where I put those other two movies, of the David Gordon Green trilogy. But before we get to that, there was something I wanted to talk about relating to this topic.
Yes.
There are rumors that there's talks about trying to do a cinematic Halloween universe.
Yes. Okay. So what exactly are they saying that they want to do?
I don't think there's much more. It's just a rumor right now. But my problem with that is we've made 13 of these movies, everybody. Yes. Where else are you going to go?
Well, I think, and I mean, obviously we'll get into it more as we talk about the specific movies, but I think we've proved that the more you try to get out of it, the worse they get.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's the thing is like these movies, that's the problem with slashers is they're so successful. It's the problem with horror movies in general. They're made so cheap and they make so much money. And then there's this rabbit. I mean, like this year we just had the 10th Saw movie, and I'm like, how many of these are we going to keep making?
It needs to stop. Yeah. Well, I was telling someone the other day, it's called the Complete Saw Collection, but it is now missing 3 of the movies that have come out since the Complete Collection came out. And I was like, I don't know. I've heard that this last one's pretty good though. So I don't know.
I've heard that too. Yeah. So it looks like Miramax is talking about just starting over, and rebooting
just completely over.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the article because there was some talks about it. All I know is Miramax still avidly wants this to remain a franchise, so they still are like we want to keep making these Halloween movies and keep this going. But again, it's like, why start over yet again? We've already done this, like, what?
A lot.
3 times?
Okay. So you think 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 are connected. 1, 2, H2O, and Resurrection are connected. 1, and then the last 3 remakes are connected. So like you've got all these different timelines. Yeah, similar, and they all start off at the same jumping off. So maybe if they completely redid everything, maybe I could give it a go. And it's just like, oh, this is what it would be like if this one thing had changed, maybe, but I don't know.
Well,
It could really go either way.
Into the Myers verse, and you're gonna have like all these. Well, guess what? It's the same. They all kill people. They're all the same. Like I don't understand what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a multiverse where Laurie was the killer, and like what? Like I don't. There's really. You love this franchise, and even you are like, we can move on. Like but,
well, because it's at this point it's beating a dead horse. There really is too much of a good thing. Like, and at a certain point you start ruining it. And, sometimes you have to just take the good ones and leave them wanting more, Yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird because of how we'll get into the David Gordon Green thing too. Because there's such a disparity between those three movies where I might surprise you where I place them, but we'll find out.
Okay.
So we're gonna go worst to best. So we got 13 movies. We're going from 13 to 1. I will start.
Okay. I have a feeling that we might have the same number 13. Maybe.
Well, yeah, because Halloween is just like Friday the 13th. It's just like Nightmare on Elm Street. When it's bad, it's real bad, And
it's bad, yeah.
Yeah. So number 13 for me, which might be the same for you, I'm gonna say Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, which would be Halloween 6.
Oh, okay. That is not what I have.
Because this is the cult one, right? This is the cult angle. And I believe this is the one with Paul Rudd, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yes, Paul Rudd's first movie.
Nothing against Paul Rudd. Yeah,
I love Paul Rudd.
He's a baby in this movie.
I love Paul Rudd. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, who doesn't?
He's still learning. Yeah.
But it's just, I didn't like the whole cult stuff. I thought that it felt really weird. I mean, Paul Rudd's doing his best, but it's just, and that's the problem with these worst ones, in my opinion. They're so forgettable. Like all I remember from this was the cult stuff and Paul Rudd. That's all I remember from Curse of Michael Myers. So that is a number 13 for me.
Okay. That's all right. So for 13, I've got Halloween Resurrection.
What?
Yes, I will tell you
much
why.
Higher.
Do you? No, you do not.
I do for one really dumb reason.
Busta Rhymes is in
That's the reason it's higher. Go ahead.
Okay, this movie was so bad. I've never been able to get through the whole thing. I've tried so many times. I've never been able to watch this whole movie because it's so stupid. It's like it's so clearly early 2000s, and they're like, oh, we're gonna like do a Big Brother kind of spin on it, and it's all reality TV and whatever. And I'm like, there's no world. Like, it's just so bad.
And it's such a product of its time, like you said. It's like it's so 2000, early 2000s.
But like to me, it was just so clear that they had run out of ideas, and they were like, okay, what's relevant right now?
Right.
Also the fact that like Laurie is in the first 3 minutes, and then she dies immediately. I was like, well, what was the point of her even coming back? I don't know. But anyway, so there you go.
Or is it Resurrection or H2O that she could? Because H2O is Hartnett.
H2O is the one where she's back in the whole thing. Resurrection, she's only in the first few minutes, and then he kills her. Okay.
Which is, I guarantee it was Jamie Lee Curtis being like, I'll show up, but I'm doing one day of filming and that's it.
Right.
And
then you're killing me again. And
and then we're done. No more.
Right.
No, the Busta Rhymes fight is why it's high on my list, because it's so stupid that I'm like, I have to.
You know what? I'll give you. It is something else.
When he does the spinning back kick karate shit, I was like, oh my God. But you know what? I respect it. It's not, I mean, I feel like you and I are probably going to, it probably have a similar a higher ranking, but All right. So I did mine at 13. Let's have you do 12. What do you have for number 12?
Okay, 12. I've got Halloween Ends.
Wow. Okay. I mean, it's low
really,
on my list too.
Yeah. So I appreciate what they were trying to do, because if you really watch it and you've seen all the other movies, you can tell that they're trying to do all these little homages. And I feel like what they were trying to do was kind of play off of like the Cult of Thorns stuff from the Curse of Michael Myers, but it just did not. Yeah, right. It just did not come across. And the entire time I was like, okay, I don't understand what's happening. Like the entire time. I was like, the first like 5 minutes when, Corey is babysitting that kid and then he dies and all that, I was like, this is going to be amazing. I'm gearing to go. And then it just like lost momentum so quick.
It does. It stops kind of dead in its tracks. Like, it is a very solid beginning. And then, because I give props to a movie where it has the balls to go like, we are going to have a child die to deliver this message
in the first 5 minutes.
In the first minute, like the parent in me hates it because I'm like, oh, that's awful. I don't want to watch that.
Oh God,
but then the movie viewer is like, wow, okay, so let's, like you said, I was in the same spot. I was like, all right, let's go. This is interesting. Yeah. And then it just completely falls. Like it just takes such a stop, and I understand what the movie was trying to do. And upon like seeing it, because I've only seen it the one time, but going back and thinking about it, I understand what the intention was. I just don't think it was executed well. And I think had we had seen, and we'll talk about where I put it, but the way I wanted to try and approach this, we're gonna just keep talking about these movies as we go, and then I'll tell you what, because I had it a little bit higher than you did. I had it out. It was single digits, but it wasn't. It was like it was number 9 is where I put it. But but yeah, I think my big problems with it were what was the point of this trilogy? So what were the what was, because the themes in Halloween 2018 is clinging to the past, and it's this idea of never being able to move forward. Kills is like mob mentality and how that could be a problem.
Right.
And then Ends is supposed to be like the transferring of evil, but it's like, I just don't know. I just feel like if we had met that character in the other 2 movies at some point,
then it would have been different.
Yeah, I feel like it would have had a bigger impact, because when you get to this movie, that the second movie ends on such a big climax of like, okay, this is for real. We're legitimately going to see these 2 collide finally. But it's like we take a detour, and then when it does happen, it's such an afterthought. And like, this is supposed to be a big deal, and it happens, and then you're just like, that's it. I don't know. It
feels like when they started the first one and they knew that it was going to be a trilogy, they had an outline for what this was going to be, and then they had to write it really fast. That's what it feels like for me.
And there's COVID and the delays with all that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm sure, but I just don't know. I agree with. I can't believe you put it as low as you did. I thought you would put a little bit higher, but wow.
Well, because I was like, I had really high hopes for it. I had really high, and so I think I was just really disappointed, and that's why I was like, no.
Oh yeah, it was funny because Ashley, when we watched it together, I just the whole time she was like, "What?" I was like, I was so disappointed. I was not. It's not what I wanted, and I respect a filmmaker having their vision and telling the story they want to tell. It just wasn't the story that I would have chose, or I liked. But
exactly.
That being said, still better than a lot, some of the worst ones. I know you put it low, but that is also because of your own.
I did think
your own expectations.
Well done. Right. Was well done. It was very well done. And I think some of the that in the radio station, the one, oh my God, I was not ready. I was not ready for that. It was very, very gruesome.
You know what? Yeah. Well, we'll add more to this when we get to it, because that arc
Yeah.
Laurie's granddaughter fucking drove me insane. But okay.
Yes, it didn't make any sense to me. Yeah.
She
just kind of, yeah, it just seemed like, and I understand that she went through a horrible trauma, because not only did she lose both of her parents, but like she lost her boyfriend too in the same night. But it just seemed like such a shift that it just didn't really make sense, and they didn't really like give a reason for why it was so
like
weird.
And her just being horny and want to bang that guy, fine.
Yeah. Sure.
But then
yeah.
be like, we're gonna be runaways now. Like, what? How can you be runaways? Aren't you like, I don't know. At this point, aren't you in your 20s? I don't know. But so yeah, my number 12 is Halloween 5: The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Okay.
And another reason it's low on the list, because I really don't remember that movie very much.
Yeah. 4 and 5 really blend together for me too.
Right. Yeah. I feel, honestly, I think those three, like 4, 5, and 6, just seem like they all kind of blurred together. So yeah, it's number 12 mostly because I don't remember it, and if I don't remember it, it's probably not good, so I think it should just be weird.
All right.
Yeah, so number 11, Halloween H2O.
Okay.
I respect that they brought Jamie Lee back. But again, it's just a movie, like nothing really stands out to me in that movie other than Jamie Lee Curtis is back in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
At least with these other movies, there's something to it, you know?
Yeah. It did seem like one of those movies where they were like, hey, we've got all these like hot actors from the time. Let's just put them all in a movie and see what happens, you know?
And this movie just reeks of studio meddling, and it reeks of Harvey Weinstein, because I'm pretty sure, because this is the Weinstein company, I believe, that had the rights at the time. But like just some of the like I think this is the one that released in the summer, and I'm thinking, why are we releasing this in the summer? What are we doing? A Halloween,
because it was a teen drama.
It really was. It was like Dawson's Creek with a serial killer just in the background, you know. But
that's a really good description of that movie.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, it just is like, let's put all these young hot, like, I mean, shit, Michelle Williams, Josh Hartnett, LL Cool J, you know, put all these hot people together.
Oh my god, I love LL Cool J in this movie. I love him in this movie. I love his arc that he's just like writing an erotic, like, is it a fanfic? I don't know. He's just writing an erotic novel. Like, I just love that.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing too. This movie, like I said, studio meddling. This movie was like cut to shreds. Like, there's so many. I think this one has a director's cut, or like there was also, they had an alternate TV version that they had like, and more scenes added in. But I guess the reason probably would have been to release. Well, this isn't the one. Maybe I'm thinking of Resurrection. I think Resurrection was the one that came out in July, but I would understand. I do kind of understand releasing in like August, July a little bit, because then you're like, oh, we can get it out on, you know, DVD around Halloween time. So I guess that makes sense. But I mean, yeah, other than LL Cool J, and I think this was Josh Hartnett's first movie.
Was it? It might have been.
It's got to be one of his early ones, because it's 98. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be one of the earlier ones. But yeah, it's just, yeah. It doesn't have Busta Rhymes doing a karate kick, so it goes lower on the list.
It does not. It does not.
That's just the rule. All right, what is your number 11?
All right, number 11, I've got Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers.
Oh, okay.
So, because I don't know, I like that like kitschy. Well, and you know me, I love a cult. So I don't know. I liked the storyline. I don't think that they executed it as well as I wanted them to, but I did appreciate where it was going.
I will give it props because it is interesting, because I don't think there's a cult for Freddy or Jason in their movies. So
yeah,
I'll give it credit for that.
Yeah, I did, though. I didn't like the element that they were like, oh, well, he did this thing because he was possessed by this evil spirit, because then it like gives a reason to why he did that, and that's why he's so scary, is that there's no reason. Like, and we'll get into that more as we talk about the first one and stuff. But like, so I did that. Also, Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis was just very, very old and frail in this movie, and it just kind of made me sad. And I think he actually died before the movie came out. Like, he finished filming and everything, and I think he died like a couple months before it came out. But, yeah. So Paul Rudd's first movie, man.
I will say that's one thing I've loved about Loomis as a character with Donald Pleasance stuff. Like, first of all, he is a great performance, but like, he is so affected by Michael Myers, he just gets more insane with each movie, and I kind of love it. Because he's like, why can't I kill this fucking guy? Like, it's the blackest eyes.
He is beyond a medical professional at that point. He is. Yeah. He's gone off the deep end.
You know what? The more I talk about this, I'm worried I'm gonna hate those David Gordon Green movies more. But because I just feel like the lack of presence of Loomis in those other movies hurts it a little, in my opinion. But that is
I mean, to be fair, that's not their fault. Because again, he died. But
well, I know, and I think the new Loomis, the guy who did it in the new movies, wasn't bad. But
you're right, though. It was not the same. Yeah.
All right. What's your number 10?
All right. Number 10, I've got Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie remake.
Ooh, okay. See, I was wondering about this because I think my Rob Zombies are going to be higher than yours.
Okay. We'll see. But yeah, I liked it. It was very well done. And I love, oh gosh, what's her name? Scout Taylor Compton as Laurie. I love her portrayal of Laurie. But I couldn't get behind the whole like white horse, and at the end when like she's calling him brother and she's putting on the mask, and like I was like, this is too different from the original, because like it's supposed to be a quote remake, but it's completely the original Halloween 2, which is fine, whatever, but it was like too different for me, you know?
Yeah. Which is interesting how you feel that way, because that makes you a little bit more consistent than me. Because the things that you were talking about, what you don't like about it, makes sense as way how you feel about Halloween Ends. Whereas my criticism was I'm like, somehow I have this movie a little bit higher. And maybe it's just because I have a little bit of like fondness for that Rob Zombie trashiness that I just, because you also have to understand, like, you and I. So yeah, we're about the same age. So you and I probably saw these around the same time. I saw them at a younger age, an age I probably shouldn't have seen them at. But I don't know. There's just something about those trashy Rob Zombie movies that I love.
Yeah.
But I understand where you're coming from, because to be honest, I didn't even I didn't see this movie until much later. I forgot he even made a second one.
Yeah.
So when I did see it later, I was like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing here. But I think I kind of like the pale horse stuff. I kind of like it, but I see your criticisms and I see where you're coming from, because it does kind of get a little like, what are we doing here? Especially the ending. But I don't know. I
did enjoy it though. I mean, I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. I have it as number 7, so it's higher on my list.
Okay.
So.
All right.
And it's number 7 also because, God damn it, I love Michael McDowell as Loomis. He's got such a great voice. Much. Yeah. And that's something Zombie got right. I think Michael McDowell is an excellent choice.
This might be controversial, but I think he's a better Loomis than Donald Pleasant is. I do.
Yeah, I could see that, because his Loomis doesn't chew on scenery like Pleasance does.
Yes.
That's what's so good about that. One of the many good things about that first movie is just how fucking insane he goes. Like, he's out. All right, let's kill that son of a bitch. Like, he's just ready.
Right. He's just ready. He's just like hiding in the bushes all night.
And he's always like, a dick to these kids. Like, get out of here! There's a psychopath. Go! Quit your trick-or-treating, damn it. Yeah. And he still has, one of the best lines. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes. All right. So number 10 for me, as I said, 4, 5, 6 blur together. So Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And I understand why they made this movie. They're like, no, I know Carpenter wanted to do more anthology stuff, and we tried that. It didn't work. So we got to bring back Michael. We got to bring back our boogeyman. And it definitely just feels like that. Like, well, we just got to bring this thing back. And again, very forgettable. It's low because 4, 5, and 6 all seem to blur together in my head.
Right.
And I don't really have much else for that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
number
that's
9?
the reason. Like, that's literally the reason why it's. Sorry. That's literally the reason why it's called The Return of Michael Myers, is so people would know, like, hey, he's here. He's here. It's fine.
Hey, that weird Season of the Witch thing with the masks, forget it. Forget that happened.
Yeah, that's over. We're not doing it again. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Which, honestly, is higher on my list because it takes a chance, because it just goes for it. And it's gotten such a cult following and such a resurgence now because you're seeing a lot more people talk about it on podcasts and YouTube and stuff, being like, no, this movie's actually pretty fun. Like, it's not.
Well, and I think people understand it now.
Yeah. So my number 9 is Halloween Ends, like I said earlier. Back to the criticism of this. I agree with you. The kills are fantastic in these movies. I think the gore is really cranked up in the David Gordon Green stuff, and I like that. But they just can't make up for some of the shortcomings of this movie. Like, so we have this thing where he kills Laurie's daughter, which is a big deal at the end of that second movie. And then he just hides in the sewers. He's just hanging out in the sewers eating rats. Like, what are we doing?
For years. Yeah.
And then I understand that this franchise has played with the supernatural stuff here and there, But are they implying in this movie, when he looked into the eyes of, I can't even remember the name of the dude, but when he looks into his eyes, is they're implying that he just transferred evil over to him? Or like, because that's what I know. Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Well, and that's the problem that I have with the movie, is that because I picked up on that too, that's what they were trying to say, but then it was never confirmed. And then you had the dad of the kid that died that was basically like, oh, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but then I talked to him and he wasn't the same kid. And was he that way before, or is he evil now? And that was like you never found that out. Like, so you're left wondering, well, was he always just evil, or does it have something to do with Michael Myers? And if it doesn't, what was that whole sewer exchange about? Like, it just didn't make any sense.
Corey, that's the character. Yeah. Right. And the scene in the mansion when he's killing the doctor, I thought was fun. But it was also like, we're doing a team up here? What is it? Like, I don't know. It's just, it just felt so disjointed from the other two movies. It just felt like those first two movies were all about Michael and Laurie again. And it's all about that, and then it just, boom, it's over. And then you're meaning to tell me that Michael Myers comes back 40 years later, goes on a 2-night killing spree, and we're just going to let him, and he just disappeared again, and we're never going to look into that. We're not even going to bother searching for him.
I completely forgot about this. This is another huge problem
40 years later, by the way.
So, yes. Okay, so Laurie spends 40 years after one night, and then he immediately gets locked up. She spends 40 years saying he's going to come back and preparing for the time that he comes back, knowing full well that he's locked up. But then he escapes and no one has any idea where she is. And that's when she starts living her life and gets rid of her guns and buys a house and all this stuff. Like, that
Why would you do that after he killed her daughter?
Exactly. That seems like when she would double down. Like, no, you're not going to be like, oh, I can get on with my life now. No, your entire family has been slaughtered.
Like, especially knowing now that he got out of the house that she burned up. Like, Wouldn't she?
Like, and no one knows where he is. That's the thing. They all know that he escaped, and no one knows where he is. Why is she so like nonchalant about it? It makes no sense.
Better movie. Corey's with her, and like he has some reason to be with her, whatever it may be. Like he's interested in her story, or he's a prepper like her or something.
Yeah.
He's with her, goes, and they're hunting Michael. Make it where she's the aggressor. Make it so she's after him.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, have your sewer scene again, and like have this transferring of evil or something. I don't know. But that was another frustrating thing. Laurie's character, all of this stuff from that second movie is such an afterthought to just build up this Corey story. And then we have him interacting with these characters, and then Laurie just looks at him. She's like, he's a killer. I know a killer when I see one, and that's it. And it's like, oh.
It's like, okay.
You're the one who told her to fuck him. Like, it was your idea.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. Well, and then like it kind of alluded at the very beginning, like when she's narrating her book, that there was like this new evil in the town. And I almost thought that it was going to be like part of his evil had like leached out. And like, that's why Corey got angry and killed the kid. And that's why, you know, that couple got shot in their car and whatever. But that also was never, it was just like, oh, bad things happen now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The kills are fantastic in this movie. I'm not gonna say they aren't. Like that junkyard scene when he fucking blowtorches that person in the mouth. I was like, oh my lord.
So what I liked about that was that you understand what's happening and you see some of it, but it wasn't too over the top. Because I feel like it could have gotten way too much really, really quick, but it was like it's like,
I mean, that's hard to do for me. I'm a gore whore. So, I mean, that's one of the main reasons I really liked. And a lot of people hate Halloween Kills. I actually enjoyed Halloween Kills a lot.
But yeah.
To see where we got with Ends, I was like, honestly, I think Kills is a much more enjoyable movie for me. Does it really hammer its themes on your head? Like, yeah, we get it. Mob Rules, bad movie. We understand. You know, you get a group of people together, they get angry. We get it. I know it. I live it every day. But I'm with you. It's a frustrating movie for me. And then there's people that like it.
Yes.
Good for you. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. But it was frustrating for me because I was just like, we spend so much time with Corey at the beginning. And I feel like if you had patched in like flashbacks of what had happened from Kills to Ends and had like a little bit more, like, I don't know. I just, because it just, I hate to be that guy. But when I'm watching a Halloween movie, I want to see Michael Myers. When I'm watching a Friday the 13th movie, I want Jason, right?
Yeah.
And it took way too long to get to him. And then by the time it gets to him, you're like, his whole thing with Corey, and then Corey's like, no, I don't need you. I'll be my own thing. I'm like, am I supposed to be sympathetic towards Michael? Because that doesn't make any sense. He's still a murderous psychopath.
Yeah. Well, and it also felt like, even in the scenes he was in, it felt like he wasn't present. Because, like, Corey was just like, you need to teach me how to do this. And then he steals his mask. First of all, what's that about? Like,
and he overpowers him, like, but we already had seen
there's no way
Michael murder people in this movie. I don't know. Yeah. All right, what's your number 9?
Okay, my number 9 is Halloween 5: The Revenge of Michael Myers. So I generally, that's the word I'm trying to say. I enjoyed 4 and 5. Again, they kind of blend together for me. I had to wiki both of them to be like, oh, this one happens in this movie and this happens in this. But for me, so this was the one where they started, every time the cops show up, they play like this like clown honking, like weird kind of noise.
No, I forgot about that.
To be like, oh, they're the dopes. Like, here come the cops. Like, and I was like, why is this happening now? This has never been about, why is this all of a sudden a thing? I was like, I don't like that. But
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And also like, you know, in 4, they kind of set up that Jamie is now like evil, like and whatever. And in 5, she has that psychic connection with him, but other than that, like it kind of sort of forgets the ending of 4. And so I just wish that there was a little more consistency there. But you know, this one has a guy getting pitchforked after he has sex in a barn, and I'm all about that. So
good stuff.
Yeah.
Just think, like, if Christians and Christian propaganda, if they would have just latched on to these movies, so you know, they could be look, see what happens. You want to upset God? You want to fornicate?
Pitchforked.
You get pitchforked in a barn. That's what happens. Praise Jesus. My number 8, Halloween Resurrection, and let's be honest.
Now,
this is the hard part.
Is it solely because?
Absolutely, it's just the Busta Rhymes karate fight. Well, you know, and here's the problem. When I set out and we're like, let's do the rankings, and I was like, okay, and I'm making these 13 movies, I struggled with it because I'm like, because the hardest part with making these lists is you always know what your top is and you always kind of know what your bottom is, but that middle part is so hard.
It's so hard. Yeah.
And I just put it at 8, and I put a little bit above Ends just because it's not completely unforgettable, like my bottom, 10 through 13. But I put it above Ends just because Ends disappointed me, whereas Resurrection, I had no care about it other than that's just really. I thought it was like you said, very of its time with the Big Brother and reality show angle, and honestly, I'm surprised they haven't tried something like this again. They did kind of in Halloween 2018 because they had true crime podcasters, which was just chef's kiss, genius.
Because that is exactly what would happen.
Yeah,
but that is how it would go.
You'll understand why I'm so disappointed with Halloween Ends when you realize how high I have Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, where I'm just like, man, you could have had so much. But what is your did you do number 9?
Yes, I did number 9. Yes, I did number 9. Okay, so number 8 is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
Wow, you're putting these a little high.
I enjoyed them. I thought they were fun. I liked that it, it continued Laurie's storyline, even though, Jamie Lee Curtis was like, I don't want to come back. And they were like, well, we got to have Laurie in here somehow. So I liked that. I don't know, liked that. First of all, let me get this out there. This is the worst mask in the whole franchise. Number 4, it's so bad. It's just like a plain white. It's like, what were they thinking?
Like
other than that,
like those really cheap Party City ones. It's like, come on. Oh, you froze on me.
I liked the dynamic.
Okay.
Am I back?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Am I good? Okay. I like the dynamic between Jamie and the foster sister. And then there's that great scene towards the end when like they're escaping the house and they're on the roof, and that just felt really like high intensity for me. And then I loved the ending when Jamie is dressed as the clown, and it's like mimicking the first scene in the first movie. And I really hoped that they would have done more with that, but then we got Halloween 5. So also, I just love Loomis at the end. Just no.
Yeah.
And then he like tries to shoot a child. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. All right. Number 7 for you, because we already know what my number 7 is.
Yes. So. Okay. My number 7 is Halloween H2O.
Okay.
I thought it was really fun. I liked that it was, it was trying to pay homage to the first 2, in that it brought Jamie Lee Curtis back. Also, Janet Leigh, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom, was in it for a hot second as one of the nurses, which I really liked as a fan of hers.
Queen, yeah.
Yeah. And so I liked what it was trying to be. I thought it did a very good job being what it was trying to be. And then, I love me some Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Josh Hartnett, all of them.
All
So
the sexy people.
It was a really fun movie for me. That's in the grand scheme of the Halloween franchise. I don't think it's a great franchise movie, but I thought I liked it.
Also, by the way, I was out of curiosity. You were right. It was almost 2.5 hours last year, so we got a lot to live up to here.
All right, crank it out.
Yeah. Well, my number 7 is Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Mm-hmm. And I like it because it played with the mythos and took a chance. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily know if I like the idea of, because they did this in what was the one she just showed up in? Halloween Resurrection. Because she's in a psych ward in that, right? Is that?
Yeah.
And that's where this movie ends. And I'm like, I don't know if I really like the idea of Laurie being in a psych ward. But if my brother was a murderous psychopath who was obsessed with trying to kill me, I would probably go insane too.
Right. And killed everyone that you loved.
Yes.
Because like her birth family is dead, her adoptive family is dead, her best friend is dead. Like, yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily like that. And we talked about the symbolism of the horse and everything. It's just, again, I think a lot of it is Michael McDowell being Loomis. And you also have to keep in mind too, I never really watched the originals. Like I watched these before I watched any of the other ones. Mm-hmm. So I don't have the frame of reference of the Carpenter stuff. Right. So going back and watching the Carpenter stuff, I'm like, well, this movie I still enjoy, and I still have it has a place, for me in my heart. But like those other ones are better. And so having not known it, I was like, okay, I enjoy this movie. It's okay. Like, but the bus sequence in the second movie, whoo, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And it's a zombie. Again, I don't know. Maybe because I like his music. I think I have a weird soft spot for Rob Zombie's movies.
He definitely he has a style for sure. He's a very unique style.
He understands white trash and he commits to it. And I got to give him credit. He commits to that hellbilly white trashness. So number 6, this one might be contentious. We'll see.
Okay.
Number 6, I literally put the Rob Zombie movies next to each other. So number 6 is Halloween 2007.
All right.
I think I probably watched this one the most because honestly, I haven't really watched the Halloween movies more. First of all, not nearly as much as you have, but I don't think I've watched any of them more than once, other than maybe the zombie one. Mm-hmm. I really like this one. I do understand. I do find it fascinating that he tried to give more backstory to Michael and he tried to develop Michael, but I think he did it in the right way. Yeah. Of, okay, we're going to sympathize with this kid, but then also realize that like he has gone the point of no return. Mm-hmm. He is just the way he is. And so it sticks with the he likes doing it. Like it just kind of sticks with that line that Carpenter and Deborah Hill set out. Mm-hmm. I remember when it was coming out and he said the way to look at it, because he didn't even like calling it a remake. Yeah. And he said the way I would look at it is Carpenter wrote a chapter, I'm writing a book. So like he was trying to say, I'm trying to expand on what he did. Mm-hmm. And I can respect him for that. Now, does it have some of the trappings that Rob Zombie movies have that I don't understand? Like, I don't know why Rob Zombie needs to think he has to put sexual assault in his movies as much as he does. It's so unnecessary to me. And in general, I feel like if there's any sort of sexual things in a movie or story, make it part of the narrative and make it.
Yeah, don't just do it to do it.
Don't just and. I know I'm a hypocrite because these slasher movies love to show tits, but like,
right.
That will always stand out. And I don't even know if it's even in the theatrical version. It might just be in the director's cut of them sexually assaulting that woman. But then I'm like, but why did you put it in the director's cut?
Yeah.
Why did this need to be in the movie? Like, I just don't get it. Like, some of those things I can't forgive it for. I kind of, this is what's good about it, I think, is when Michael kills for the first time, I'm kind of rooting for him.
Yeah.
His stepdad is such an irredeemable piece of shit. You're kind of like, yeah, kill that piece of shit. Like, you're okay with it.
Right.
And there are little touches where you're like a little bit sympathetic, but then it immediately snaps you back out of it. Because like the Danny Trejo thing, when he kills Danny Trejo and he's like, I was good to you, and he still fucking kills him.
I love the Danny Trejos in this movie, first of all. Yeah. It was beautiful.
But that's, again, I think where you could criticize it is the execution. The ideas are there, but maybe not the execution. But I still enjoyed it for what it was. And I can see why people wouldn't like it as much. But I think that movie still has I think it's a pretty solid Halloween movie. I think it's a legitimate attempt at trying to expand on Carpenter's work, and I can respect that. I'm pretty sure Carpenter likes it. I think he did enjoy it.
I don't know. I would be very interested to find out. It does have a very clear vision for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. What's your number 7? Or what's your number
6? Number 6? My number 6
was H2O, wasn't it?
Yes. Okay. My number 6 is Halloween 2, the original one.
Ooh, a little bit lower than me, but okay.
Yeah. So this was actually, I'm pretty sure this was the first Halloween movie that I saw, because I was like 8 or 9. And I very, very, very clearly remember watching the scene where he takes that woman and like keeps dunking her in the hot tub.
Oh, God.
And it just scared the shit out of me. And I was like, I don't like this. I don't want to keep watching this. And then of course I kept watching it, and now here we are, like 20 years later, and I completely love the franchise. But like, I guess the reason why it's not higher, because I do think it was well done, but I know that everyone hated making that movie. Like, John Carpenter didn't want it to be what it was. Jamie Lee Curtis didn't want to come back. I'm pretty sure Deborah Hill was a part of this one, right? I'm pretty sure she didn't want to come back.
Yeah, she wrote the first 2 with Carpenter, yeah.
Yeah. And so, because like originally they wanted it to be, I believe they wanted it to be a trilogy, and they wanted it to be an anthology trilogy where each movie was different. But the studio said, no, like, people love Michael Myers. You're making another Michael Myers movie. And so I don't know if this is true or not. The rumor is that John Carpenter like wrote it in a night after drinking a 6-pack of beer.
I'd buy it.
Like, it seems true, right?
Yeah, it seems like a Carpenter thing to do.
Yeah. Also, and I know that this kind of goes against what I said about 4 and 5, because I said that I liked that they were continuing the lineage, but I don't love the twist that he's her brother, because for me that takes away from what made the original one so scary, is that he just decides to kill this girl for no reason, and now all of a sudden he's going after his sister, and so it's less scary because you're like, oh, well then I'm fine, So, but yeah.
And I also like that Carpenter, and then here's another reason I think that rumor is true, that he just kind of wrote it, is because Michael and Laurie being siblings is kind of a weird twist. And then to have that shot of the mask at the end to be like, I killed him. It's fucking over. Let's make the Halloween movie we want to make,
Right.
Let's do the anthology thing. Also, I looked it up. John Carpenter disagrees with me.
Oh, he does not like the zombies?
First he was upset. They're on good terms, but he was upset that Rob Zombie had said he was cold to it at first. And he said that painted a negative interpretation of it. He goes, I just thought he took too much time explaining Michael. He thought, the general consensus, which is fair, he created the damn thing, where he said that Michael should be a force of nature. Michael should have more mystique. He felt like that took it away. And I think I understand that criticism, but at the same time, like I said, I think it still adds to him because it still shows that even if he likes you, he still kills you anyway because he just does that.
Mm-hmm.
So, number 5, right? Is that what we're on?
Yes.
So, funny enough, let's see where we're getting because we're in the nitty gritty. Top 5. Here we go.
Woo! All right.
We'll go with you. Yeah.
Here we go. Okay. My number 5 is Halloween Kills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed the first 2 David Gordon Greens. I really liked what they were trying to do. I love that he was genuinely such a fan and he wanted to do these remakes. And like, shoot, was it him or was it Jason Blum I think it was Jason Blum that said that he was not going to do these if he didn't have John Carpenter's blessing and like John Carpenter wasn't a part of it. Mm-hmm. And so I really, really like that because, you know, they're not just saying, hey, you know what we should do? Reboot Halloween because we'll make a bunch of money. Like they're doing it because they want to do it and they love the material and they want to, you know, pay homage to this beautiful thing. So the thing that I like about the second one is the mob mentality because if you look at the world that we're living in today and that we've been living in for like the past 3 or 4 years, it's very, very easy to see how that could have easily happened. Because I remember like when I was younger watching stuff like that and being like, that's too far-fetched. Like that wouldn't play out like that. Somebody would stop it. Somebody would. And as we've seen, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes the mob takes over and innocent people die. And, you know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. By the way, my number 5 is Halloween 2. The original. Oh. So I want to keep talking about Halloween Kills because I everything that you said about Halloween 2 is kind of where I felt. I do kind of like I do wish they didn't have the sibling detail in this movie, and I'm glad they kind of like retconned it later with the David Gordon Green stuff. But who knows with this continuity anymore? But the thing that, like I said, I loved about Halloween 2 was like that was Carpenter's way of being like, I'm fucking done with it. It's over. Yeah. I'm not doing it. And to this day, he has not made another one. Like he's just it's over. Yeah. But he also, this is why I love John Carpenter. He does say, you know, he goes, you know what he goes, I love is I hear that theme and I hear money is what I hear. I hear that theme and I just stick my hand out. So you know what? Yeah, I gotta respect him for that. And Halloween 2 isn't a bad movie, but I respect him being like, all right, you fuckers want me to make this movie. I'm gonna make this movie. So my number 4 is Halloween Kills. Okay. And I think again why Halloween Ends is disappointing, and the same reason you feel this way. Mm-hmm. I'm in the same boat. I absolutely love those David Gordon Green movies. Mm-hmm. Those first 2. And I know that people think this is like, well, this is a pointless movie. This is a medium movie. It's just trying to attach where they want to go in the first movie. And I'm like, having seen Halloween Ends, I don't think that was the case at all. No, it sure was not. And I don't know. I came out of that movie really enjoying it. Still thinking the 2018 version was better, but I love the fact that it starts as soon as right where that first movie ends. It literally starts
like seconds later. Yeah.
And I think the plan before COVID was to have it all back to back to back. Like they filmed, I'm pretty sure they were filming the kills and ends like together. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
And that's why they're only a year apart because they were supposed to only be a year apart anyway. Right. And it just, I love that it keeps with that. And man, like, unlike Ends, this movie, it's at such an amazing pace. It's such a breakneck speed I mean, the fucking opening salvo of him murdering those firemen was just absolutely insane. And it was so good. So good. And I will say the biggest criticism I have of that, because I remember covering it on this podcast, the biggest issue I had with it was they took Jamie Lee Curtis out of it for a good portion. Understandably, because she was severely injured, but it's like she was kind of she did sort of feel like background to this.
Yeah.
Where I feel like it's so weird because I feel like that first movie is a Laurie movie. The second movie is about the town and Michael. And then the third movie is about Corey.
Right.
And sort of Laurie at the end. But yeah, I really liked Kills. Oh my God. When he stabs that woman with the fucking light, the fluorescent light,
that stuck with me for a very long time. That whole scene just really, really got to me.
Or the one with the nurse and he like hits the gun and she shoots herself in the head. I was like, geez.
Oh God, yeah. There's some really good kills in that one too.
Well, and like they did a good job, and yeah, you could tell that, which blows my mind that Danny McBride was a co-writer on those movies.
I know.
But you could tell they love those originals because like the 3 kids with the 3 masks from Halloween 3. I was like, that's such a cool little Easter egg.
Yeah.
And that fucking eerie scene on the playground. There's so many good set pieces in that second movie. And that's why it's so high on my list. I really, really enjoy Halloween Kills.
Yeah. So, well, and I love that Kyle Richards is back too as Lindsay, and yeah, and Tommy is in it. I mean, it's not the same guy because it's what's his face from The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, Anthony Michael Hall. Shout out.
Yeah,
he's
which
good
I did. Yeah, no, I liked it. But I just
say though, when they're doing like the open mic shit. And he decides, hey, remember that guy that murdered everybody 40 years ago?
Let me just, we're all having a great time. Let me bring it down and depress everyone.
Remember when you had family members that were probably brutalized by this man 40 years ago? Fucking crazy, right? I know we never forget about it, but we
I'm gonna remind you. Now let's all have a beer. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I forgot that movie had that cool scene in the car where you thought Michael was like, there's so much to that movie.
Yeah. And no, it's those first 2 really, they just go and go and go and go. And that's another thing that I didn't like about Ends is that it felt like it should be ramping up and it just wasn't. And honestly, those other 2 just
part of me feels
like
you could have like flipped them, to be honest. Like I feel like you could have flipped them. Had the same ending, but flipped them. But it's what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Halloween 2018. So the first David Gordon Green.
I thought we were gonna have the same. We don't even have anywhere near the same.
I think what's happening, I think we basically have them in the same order at this point, except for one.
Yeah, because we're down to the same movies. They're just in different spots.
We're doing them in the same order. They're just in different spots. Yeah. So yeah, I loved this movie so much. Like I remember being so excited when it was coming out and that Jamie Lee Curtis was coming back because I knew that was a big deal. I knew that meant that she really liked the script and she was like down for this movie. And I loved how, again, there were all of these homages to the first one and how like the kills just go from like pretty simple to like by the end of it, that guy gets like curb stomped and like his brains explode and like so it was kind of like a representation of how the first movie there's very little blood. The kills are so simple, and then by the remakes it's just crazy gore. Like
how did they fuck up the pacing so bad in the third movie? Because this movie is so brilliantly paced. When he drops the teeth in the stall.
Oh no. Yeah.
It's horrifying. And that's such good tension. Because I don't know, man. If somebody drops some teeth in front of me, I'd be like, okay.
That's a very unnerving thing. Because first of all, I mean, it's
how
disembodied person.
Yeah.
Yes. And we've all had that nightmare where our teeth fall out and we freak out about it, Yeah. And so to have just bloody teeth dropped upon you is just
see him drop
so unnerving. But I just loved it so much. And then I loved that, yeah, Laurie was, obviously her life was never the same and she became this totally different person and her life was ruined in a way. But at the same time, she's been so strong this entire time. And when,
She's Sarah Connor.
Yeah. Exactly. And like when the moment needed her to be, she was so strong and so ready and, not at all the girl that she was in the first one. And I love that there was that character development for her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I loved the storyline, that, she had a daughter and again, because of this thing that happened to her, like her entire life was ruined and then her daughter's life was ruined because of that. And just, there was something so beautiful about all of that to me.
Yeah. We'll talk about that more because I have it higher. But
yeah,
because there's some shots where I'm like, okay, these guys were in their bag. Like, okay, we're cooking. We're cooking now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my number 3 is Halloween 3: Season of the Witch.
That's my number 3.
Hey, we finally did it.
Go us.
It's so
good.
Also, points for Halloween Ends because they use the same font. In Halloween, like at the opening credits, it's like the same font of Season of the Witch. I think this movie gets a lot of points for me because the fact that it's a bad ending. Like I like the idea that because they wanted to keep that anthology thing of like, why not go for it and just because this is going to be it. This is going to close the loop on this. So like, let's make it so all these kids, like the implications, all these kids are dead. I'm like, shit, like what an ending. Like, so crazy. And it's just, there's something about it. I think it like I said, it has an idea and it just goes for it. And it doesn't bother with the fact of like, it's such a weird change from the Michael Myers stuff. It's just such a good movie in terms of like it's just 80s camp, 80s bonkersness.
It's such an 80s movie.
It is
in the best way, in the best possible way.
I mean, is it Tom Atkins?
It's either Tom Atkins or Tom Atkinson. I can't remember, but yeah, Tom something.
His performance is just unbelievably insane and just awesome. And it's just, I mean, what else can you say about it other than the masks and it's such a weird plot and such a, I love it. It
is very weird. And I think my favorite kill in the entire franchise is when the little boy's head like melts and all the snakes come out and the songs playing. And I just, there's just something so eerie and like unnerving and unnatural about all of that. That's just so beautiful. And also, I love that there's that scene where are they in a bar and
you're frozen again.
Are you good? Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay. But like they're watching the TV and it says like the immortal classic John Carpenter's Halloween, and you're like, hey, he just called his own movie an immortal classic, and then ironically it became that. But I just love everything about this movie. It's
well, I mean, the ending when Tom Atkins is like, turn it off. Turn it off.
Stop it. Which he has come out and said in interviews that none of the children die. He wants everyone to know that.
Okay, I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
You don't
take
buy
away
it?
From the ending.
That's I think for me it's just that it's so wonderfully 80s.
Yeah,
I just love 80s films that I can't describe it any other way, that they're just so wonderfully 80s. And you understand what that means when you see it,
Mm-hmm. It's bad, but it's 80s bad. That's what I always say.
Yeah,
it's bad, but it's 90s bad. There's just a difference. Halloween Resurrection.
Like H2O.
Yeah, H2O. Exactly.
Resurrection is early 2000s bad. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so here we go. We're down to the final 2.
Woo.
All right, you go first.
Excited. I'm glad we made it. Okay, I think you're gonna like mine. My number 2 is the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween.
Wow. Okay.
I love this movie. So for a very, very long time, this movie was my favorite of the Halloween franchise. And then once I started studying psychology more and stuff, I got a little more into the first one, which I'll talk about. But I love the whole first part with young Michael Myers and learning all this, why he is this way. I love that Junie from Spy Kids gets brutally beaten in the woods. Like you said, I love that the stepdad gets what's coming to him. It's just, I just love it so much. I love that scene in the truck stop with what's his name, Joe Grizzly, in the bathroom when he gets him. I love it so much. It's such a good film. It's
you big motherfucker or something like that. I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's like, you want to hold his dick, and then he just immediately beats the shit out of him. It's amazing. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. I was gonna kind of leave the floor to you to talk about it because I waxed poetic about how I felt. But that's another thing too. Rob Zombie really knows how to make really shitty characters. So you're like, yes, kill this man, please. I was trying to look it up. Tyler Mane, who plays Michael Myers, that dude is fucking huge.
He's giant, big scary dude.
Yeah.
But like you were saying with the Danny Trejo scenes, I love that because of how devastating it is. Because this guy, he tells that one part, he's like, I've been taking care of this kid for so long, and we've got this bond and whatever. And then it turns out, no, you don't.
Yeah.
He just, he's going to kill you without even thinking about it. And, that's just how he is. And, Dr. Loomis, it's just, it's all just so wonderful. I love it so much.
Michael Myers. Evil. And I didn't think I said it enough when I was talking about it, but I do love the fact that it's not straight up a remake.
Yeah.
And I do love the fact that, yes, and we, giving however you may feel about it with Michael's stuff, giving a backstory, but yeah, the fact that he made it his own. And that is the way you should approach remakes. And that, because if we're going to do the same shit over again, I'll just watch the other one. I don't know why, but I'm surprised. I thought you would kind of have this movie where I had it. So I'm a little surprised that you had it higher up on your list.
Yeah. I kind of am too.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised.
Of course, number 2, which, by the way, you're so cliche. I'm just going to call you out on your ranking, but whatever. Because number 2 is the original Halloween for me. It's the one that started it all. It is an interesting movie because we talk about pace, right? And this movie is so impressive because it was made on $397,000.
Nothing. Yeah.
A shoestring budget. And it uses that to its advantage. And it's so great because you could tell, how even at this time, how in control of his vision John Carpenter was. And I think this is why I've always loved his movies and always respected him as a filmmaker, because he clearly him and Deborah Hill had an idea of how to do this on this kind of budget and make this movie. And it is such, if you watch it now by any standards, it is a slow burn.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But once it gets cooking, it's going. And it doesn't have a huge body count. But the kills are impactful. And there's so many iconic things from this movie that it wasn't the first one, it wasn't the first slasher,
right?
But it reignited that genre and set it on fire, because that movie was unbelievable success. I got to pull it up because I want to know the box office on that. But so obviously you have a special place for it too, because you got the tattoo on your body.
Sure do.
we'll get to that at number one, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to type it in real fast. It's again, I don't know what else could be said about this movie other than what it's done. I mean, all these other 12 movies exist because of this, and it just does a really, really, and Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, her performance is great.
Oh, it's
and
unbelievable.
It's so good at playing in these spheres of like what he talked about, this force of nature in the suburbs and places that are familiar to a lot of these film, these people. It's not at a camp. It's not in your dreams. It's just, man, so good. There's so many choices that's made. And again, because of budget, but it still works narratively, and like how the ending of Loomis and the fight with Lori and the iconic shot of when she looks down and he's gone. And it's like, so good. So roughly there's not like a nailed down number, but this is according to Wikipedia. It was 300,000 to 325,000 was its budget and made $70 million.
Well, and also you have to remember that was $70 million in the 70s. So like,
oh yeah,
it's like way more but like that's crazy. That's insane. And like it was like a bunch of their like first big movies, and it was like a very young cast and crew. And like I think there were like 3 real pumpkins used because they couldn't afford them. And like the rest of the time it's squash. And I think like they had
and they filmed leaves. It in reverse. The opening thing.
So yeah. And like they had leaves that they had to keep like picking up and reusing because they couldn't afford to get new ones. And like the reason that Nick Castle was Michael Myers was because he was just there hanging out, and they were like, hey, you want to do this? And like, so it was all very, very chill. And I kind of feel like that's part of the reason why it was so successful, was that, they were all just relaxed and having fun making this thing that they had no idea what it was going to be. And people just responded to it really well.
$70 million in 1978 would equal $334,553,784. So it would make a good portion.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to trample on your number one, so I'll wrap it up saying,
okay.
The reason it is where it is because of the movie it is, and why it's. I'm sure you'll tell me even more why it's your number one. It's not number one for me because of how good that 2018 movie is, and I'll talk. We've already talked about it. I'll talk more about it because there's a few things I left out because I wanted to save it to just wax poetic why it's my number one. But why is the original Halloween your number one?
So I studied psychology in college and stuff. And I think that after I kind of had that perspective of it, I was able to appreciate more, like, because in the original one, so in the Rob Zombie remake, he's like, what, 12, 13 when he kills. In the original one, he's 6 years old when he kills his sister.
And it's a POV shot, which is...
It's a POV shot, which, first of all, was brilliant.
Deborah Hill's hand, by the way. That's
yes, I love that. I love that it's just Deborah Hill like walking around. And also, did you notice that in Halloween Ends, there's a scene where Michael goes to the kitchen and he reaches into the drawer, and it's supposed to be like a exact shot for shot remake of that moment.
Oh yeah.
Really cool. Yeah. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, you have no idea. It's never explained why he is the way that he is. It's never explained why he killed his sister. He was just this like cute little blonde kid. Like he could have been, any of our neighbors. Seemed to have a good family life. Like you don't know anything about his family, but he's living in a nice house in a nice neighborhood. Like it seems like everything's fine.
Yeah.
And again, the reason that I don't like the storyline that he's Laurie's brother is because in the first one, he's just a crazed man that escaped prison saw this girl and was like, yeah, she's the one that I'm going to hunt down and kill. And you don't know why. You don't know what she's done to make him think that. You don't know if like she reminds him of his sister, like what it is. And that makes it so scary because she was just walking to school and this guy saw her. And so it makes you think like that could happen to me. I could just be like walking to the grocery store and a crazy man could decide he wants to kill me. And that's a terrifying thought.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's I just love this movie.
Well, and like we're talking about the setting, the just everything about it. When he has the moment where he stabs him on the wall and he hangs there, and then it's the iconic head tilt.
I like that so much because he's just like, it's so simple. It's such a simple direction, but it's so, you're like, oh my God, this person is deranged because he just killed this man. And he's like, huh, look at what I just did.
He's
like,
stuck on the wall. It's interesting. Yeah. Just
like
no
he's admiring
remorse.
a painting. Like it's, oh God, yeah.
Yeah. And it does, yeah. There's a reason it's been so revered 40 plus years. There's a reason it spawned 12 other movies. It's just, yeah. Truly remarkable that they were able to do that. And and I've talked about it in our last Spooktacular, but it reminds that era just reminds me of DIY, and that's what's so I think you and I have talking about like what makes horror so appealing. Why do we like it so much? And I don't remember if we came to the conclusion too of like so much of it is do it yourself. So much of it is you see these great filmmakers get their start in this genre because it's one of the few genres that like allows itself to have so much creativity, right? And like I said, just even then as a young filmmaker to just see that he had that that vision and was able to execute it in such a way it's just kind of crazy to think about.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like kind of like what we were talking about last year with like The Evil Dead. Like look at how cheaply made that was, how successful it was, and like what those two have gone on to do. Like it's insane. And same thing, like look at everything that John Carpenter has done since then. Like look at Jamie Lee Curtis's career. Like she just won an Oscar. Like
oh yeah, don't even. Well, and that's the thing. The Thing is probably one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I absolutely love that movie. Escape from New York, Escape from LA, and like most of everything John Carpenter's done that I've seen, I've loved it. And and to think that he started here. Well, I don't know if it was his first movie, but it was one of his
I want to say that it was like his first big movie. Yeah, I think he had made a bunch of like student films and stuff. And I think that he had, did they win an Oscar for a short that they had made in school? I think maybe. I don't remember. Or something like that, or he was nominated. I can't remember, but like, yeah. So like he had done stuff, but I think that this was his first like big anything.
Well, and 2 years after this, he did The Fog, and then he did Escape from LA and all that. But trying to figure. Anyway, that's why it's number one for you. Now, number one for me is obviously Halloween 2018.
All right.
I love the fact that they're like, we're just gonna ignore everything else and just do this. This is Halloween 1 happened. This is it. That's it. I respect that. But I think the reason I love that so much is there's just a lot of, like we talked about with the teeth, we talked about so many other things, but I think what it boiled down to was just the love that was shown in this movie. And you can tell it was made by people that really enjoyed that first and loved that first movie, because there's so many things that they do in this movie that is emulating that. I love the idea that they're like, okay, we're going to have the true crime podcasters, right? And then to have them mean nothing other than he's just something. Like, I thought they were going to exist the whole movie.
Right.
And then to have them die, like the first, maybe his like third or fourth kill in the movie, is just awesome, because I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm glad that we're not bogged down by this. But it's also fun because it was kind of like their criticism of people wanting to know more about Michael. Like it's kind of a brilliant way to talk about, no, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And to be like, well, why doesn't he talk? Get him to talk. And he never talks. And it's just like, again, he doesn't need to talk. His presence is what's scary. Let Freddy crack the jokes. Jason and Michael, they just come at you. They're just there. And there's so many shots in this movie that are so good. And you know, you have when the fucking one shot, unbroken shot of him going through those houses, starting on one side of the house, going to the other side of the house, getting the knife, killing those people, coming back out the other side, all in one shot, and it's just hanging there, static. I was like, damn, that
beautiful.
That was the shot where I was like, this is incredible. This is because I had pretty solid expectations, and it was through the roof.
Well, and like that is so upsetting because you think like those people are just going about their lives, doing whatever, and like it's just over in an instant, and then he's just gone. Like he's just kind of, it's like he's just walking, and they just got in his way, and he like moved around him, but it's like, oh, I'm just gonna stab you real quick, you know, and like there's something so upsetting about that.
That reminds me, Halloween Kills, the gay couple, them getting it hurt me. I was like, they were so fun.
Was it Big John and Little John or something like that?
Yeah, it was Big John and Little John. But yeah, like that shot was one that stuck out. Oh my God, the dome light scene where the lights go on and off and he gets closer and closer and closer. Like that's just so good. The
brilliant.
Set pieces are so good. And that's why it's my number one. I don't think it's hard to top that original, but I think it for me it tops it because of just how vividly I can remember those shots and just think about them, and it's like that is what I want out of this movie. And then when he fucking curb stomps Loomis, that was nuts too. Because again, I think that was also the movie being like, we're not gonna keep Loomis around. We're not going. We're gonna tell our own. This is gonna deviate a little bit. This is gonna be our own thing. I will say though, I got real scared. And not like, ooh, scared. I was scared of like, oh no, I don't like where this is going. When Loomis kills the cop that's taking him and Michael, and then he puts the Michael Myers mask on, I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And then the movie quickly was like, no, like killed him off. Like, no,
like, don't worry.
Yeah. Because I was worried. It was legit. I'm like, I don't want that.
Which coincidentally is kind of what happened in Halloween Ends.
Kind of, yeah. Which we never talked about the end of that when they put him through a fucking like the junkyard device. That was brutal.
Which also, like that's kind of
don't see his face until that moment.
Yeah, no. Well, and you never really do. You kind of see his face, but it's always like at an angle, or it's always like shadow, kind of far enough away that it's like kind of blurry. But it's kind of like what you were saying about the second one, that they were like, all right, we're done with this. Like he can't come back. He's in a wood chipper. Like
he's been dismembered. It's over. But that Halloween 2018 was. I just remember, I saw that and Kills in the theaters, and then I just watched Ends on Peacock. The place was rabid watching that movie. Like they were like hooting and hollering, like this scene where Laurie gets knocked off the balcony and they do the shot, but it's reversed, and she's the one pursuing him, and like it's just so much fun. Again, should have did that with Ends because we already set that up. Oh, and another thing, tying it back to the first movie, but adding humor, and like it was funny. It had like you could tell that these are guys that have comedy chops. They've worked in comedy, so there's some humor to it. There's some levity to it. It doesn't take itself overly serious, and like emulating the shot outside, but instead of Michael, it's Laurie. Like I thought that was a funny gag, and just so much. And I mean, Judy Greer. She was great in that movie.
I love Judy Greer.
Solid character.
I love that. Like the whole time she's wearing a Christmas sweater.
Yeah,
on Halloween.
she hates it so much. Which would make sense. I would hate it too.
Yeah.
Turn my mom into Sarah Connor like that. I get it, but
I also loved that little kid that the one friend is babysitting. He's just like so sassy, and he's got so much attitude. It's beautiful.
So good. And then it went downhill.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it did a little bit. So that's it. We did it. All 13 movies. Took its, like, I don't know, hour and a half, but we did it. All 13 movies. Maybe that should just be the tradition for a little bit. Get through the franchises, you know. Watch all the Friday the 13th. Watch all the Nightmare on Elm Streets. Oh, I don't know if I can commit to that.
I haven't seen a bunch of either of those movies. I've only seen like one or two.
I mean, let's be honest. At a certain point, it's kind of just the same thing over again. But,
yeah.
I'm still, you know what? I'm still surprised that we haven't seen a new. I guess it's because of rights reasons, but Friday the 13th, we haven't seen a new one of that since 2009. And that movie did well.
One? Yeah, that was good. I liked that one. I liked it. It was pretty good.
That was an interesting one, but that I think it's rights reasons. There's a big dispute for rights, is why that one hasn't made. And part of me is like, no more. But then you have what they did with Halloween 2018, and I'm like, well,
it can be done.
Yeah, it can work. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know, but we'll figure that out in 2024 when Spooktacular 3 comes around.
We got a whole year to figure it out.
Well, this came about like a few weeks ago because I'm like, oh yeah, we should probably do that again. But
we should figure something out.
We were too broad last time.
See, that's why it was 2.5 hours, because it was just, let's talk about horror movies. And
see, I think we could do franchises again. We could do other Halloween things. I don't know. Oh, I want to say, as we're wrapping things up, I talked about it last week on the pod. I want to talk to you about it. If you have Amazon, I would recommend checking out Totally Killer if you haven't.
I want to so bad. I just need to, having a 5-month-old means that you have no personal life.
Yeah.
So I just haven't had time. It looks so good, and I love. Oh, what's her name? I love her. She's such a good actress.
Yeah, she's in Sabrina. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got the. I don't want to say weird because that's rude, but a different name. It's like
it's a horror comedy. I think it leans into comedy more than horror. But I do have gripes with that movie, and I've said it on the podcast. Yeah. It's because there's CGI blood, and I get upset about it.
Oh,
get some.
Right.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
they do a good job of hiding it, but there was one shot where I'm like, come on, get a squib in there. It's corn syrup and food dye. Come on.
I was gonna say it's not that expensive.
Get a spring-loaded knife.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on.
Exactly.
No, but I would recommend it. It's a fun movie.
All right.
Is there any new movie? I've heard Talk to Me is good. I have not seen that.
I want to see it so bad. I've heard nothing but good things. Like that one. I need to see the new Insidious movie because I heard that was really good.
Well, that's Patrick Wilson directed it.
Oh, did he? Oh, I didn't know that. I knew that like everyone came back.
Yeah,
so I've got to see that one.
His directorial debut. So
is it?
Yeah.
I love Patrick Wilson.
I mean, who doesn't?
I keep saying that I love everybody, but
this is a pro Patrick Wilson podcast. We've been very open about that.
Yes.
On this show. Because we were talking about Aquaman 2, and we're like, we love.
Oh God, yeah, he is in that, isn't he?
Yeah.
I forgot. Well, he's Raoul in Phantom of the Opera, so he'll always have my heart.
You could not pay me to care about that.
Oh,
I don't get it.
You don't have to get it.
Can hear me right now, but she likes him. You talking about? Is that the one with Gerard Butler?
Gerard Butler. Sure is.
Phantom.
He's the Phantom.
Is he actually singing in that movie?
Yeah, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
He'll always be Leonidas to me, not the Phantom and the Phantom of the Opera. Well, I want to bring that up because I was like, is there any new horror movies you've seen this season or want to see before the holiday?
Again, I just don't have a lot of time for myself, but I did just recently I watched this movie. I think it's from like 2009. It's called Triangle, and it's about a sailboat that and I think the reason it's called Triangle is because the boat's name is Triangle. I don't know if it's like because it doesn't take place in the Bermuda Triangle or anything, but they're sailing and this big storm comes in and the boat capsizes and they end up finding this other ship and they get onto the ship and there's no one on it. And then pretty soon the lead character realizes that they're trapped in a time loop. And someone is killing everybody, and then she realizes that it's her killing everybody, and it's like you have to find out why, and it's pretty good. It's really trippy. So I just saw that one. That was pretty good. I need to see the new Evil Dead movie. Have you seen that yet?
Yeah,
Evil Dead. Yeah. Is it really good?
I liked it a lot. It's good.
That's
good time.
And then Five Nights at Freddy's. What? It's weird.
Well, it's weird because I think what they're trying to do, and they don't really explain this in the movie, because I kind of found out a bit later, but I think they're trying to do something with the Necronomicon being multiple books. So, like, this movie is a different Necronomicon that was in the other movies, which would explain why these Deadites operate a little differently than they do in the other movies.
Uh-huh.
But it's still very much an Evil Dead movie. It's very gory. I'm not gonna say anything else, but I will say by the third act, I'm like, what the hell is this thing? Like, what are we doing? All right, but it makes sense. Yeah. But you're like, what are we? Okay, all right, we're going there. But it's a good movie. It's a good time.
All right. Check that out. But yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's comes out on Friday, I think. I'm excited for that. Things. You haven't? I'm holding out hope. I'm holding out such because we haven't seen Josh Hutcherson in anything in a while, right? So I'm like really excited. I'm really excited to see him again.
That Hunger Games money.
Yeah.
Totally Killer was kind of the last one. I don't know if there's any. I feel like there's something else because you know what? I was gifted Barbarian on Halloween last year, and I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever top.
I still haven't seen that.
I fucking love that movie.
I need to see it so badly.
I can't even tell you what that movie's like, and I said this last year on the show. I hadn't seen it yet, but at that point, I can't even begin to tell you what it's like because it would just, even if I described it to you, you would be like, "There's no way that's what that movie is." And I was like, "Well, there you go."
Yeah,
because it just takes such a left turn, and it's so good. I've talked about it on this channel, the YouTube channel, and stuff like that, so people know how I feel about it. But I would recommend that one. And then one final thing. I know we're kind of trailing this thing off. One final thing. What is one horror movie you will recommend to anybody? Matter if they like them or not. Evil Dead 2, I will always recommend.
Okay.
It's a perfect horror
movie. Mine is usually Halloween. So let me pick a different one because we just talked about why I love that. Do you guys have Shudder, the streaming service Shudder?
I do not.
Okay, there's a movie, and I think it's exclusively on Shudder. It might also be on Amazon, but it's called Host, and it's from 2020, and it was entirely conceived and made during the pandemic. And it's basically these friends are, they're in lockdown, and they're doing a seance over a Zoom call, and basically, shit goes bad, and it is so good. It's scary. It's one of those movies where when some of the scares are going to happen, but they get you anyway. And so it's just it's truly terrifying.
I love that horror has gone from the Blair Witch Project creating the found footage genre to the movie Unfriended creating the like found footage Skype Zoom genre. Like because there's a couple of them. Because they made a sequel, because they did Unfriended, and then they made a sequel to that was like the Darknet, and then this Host movie. It's like, it's
they make a sequel to Unfriended.
They did, but it's like they're on the black market, the dark web.
Oh.
Like the whole thing is like they're seeing someone being tortured or like they see someone. I can't remember it. It's been a while. That first Unfriended isn't a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie. I wanted it to be better than it was, but it's a fun movie, I guess.
It's getting late.
Yeah.
We recorded it late because it's spooky.
It's spooky.
Well, yeah,
it's dark outside.
Also, if you're gonna leave, you know what? Do what I do when it comes to trick or treaters. If you live in an area that's trick or treating, just put out a bowl. Let them sort it out.
We live in an apartment, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it, but I do.
Yeah.
I'm just like, take it. I don't want to hand out candy. I want to keep answering the door. I have a dog.
Right.
Just take my food, damn it.
Just turn out your lights and
well, we'll be out. Fine. I got a kid of my own, so I'll be out trick or treating, I got
are you guys going this year?
We went last year, but we're probably gonna go this year because he can actually walk now. So
how old was he last year for Halloween?
Math. What's math? He was 7 months. 7 months.
Oh, okay. Because Salem's 5 months, and I've been debating whether or not we want to. Because we've gone to some like trunk or treats.
Yeah,
and that's been fun because then we eat her candy on the way home.
Exactly.
But because she's 5 months old, but
he's getting teeth, so he can kind of eat a little bit of candy. So but he needs to understand now about taxes and
dad tax.
Dad tax. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna put a wrap on OPOT Spooktacular number dose. Well, hope you enjoyed it. That's our Halloween rankings, and if you don't like it, go to hell. All right.
Yeah. Screw you guys.
It's the definitive ranking. You don't get to tell us what our opinions are.
Right.
Grace, thanks again for joining me.
Yeah.
And
thank you for having me again. This was fun.
It's our yearly tradition.
Yeah. For the rest of our lives.
Well, I feel like you and I are with two people that. Well, I don't know. Does he like horror movies?
He does. He hasn't seen a lot of movies. He's just one of those people that doesn't, not that he doesn't enjoy movies, but he just doesn't watch movies. So I'm kind of introducing him to a lot of stuff. But
my wife tolerates it.
Yeah.
She prefers, like, I can hook her if there's more like comedy to it. But other than that, like, I don't know. Somehow I convinced her to watch Barbarian, and I think she still hasn't forgiven me for that. Because she likes it. She's like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Right.
But anyway.
Well,
thanks so much. And let us know your rankings in the comments. I'm just kidding. I won't read them. But anyway, I don't care what you think. Anyway, so combative. All right. Well, you have a good night, and I will talk to you next year. Well, not in person next year, but you'll be on the show next year.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, I won't talk to you for another year. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.